We're going live. Right, we're live now. Hi, Mum.
Hello. Hello, how are you? You had a nice day?
It's raining all the time.
Yeah, we've had rain here. It's been raining.
The
sun's come out and it's gone a bit grey again now.
Well, that's it. It's weird here. So it'll start like absolutely raining, and then it'll like come out and be sunny again, and then it'll start lashing it down, and then it's sunny again.
Yeah, it's been a bit like that here. So very windy this morning.
It's windy here as well.
Really windy.
Really, really windy.
Yeah. I put I washed my bed and I put my quilt on the on the line.
Yeah.
And it blew off, didn't it? So I had to bring it in and wash it again.
Oh, you're kidding?
No.
Did you not peg it?
Pardon?
Did you not put pegs on your washing line?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
It blew off?
It was that windy.
Holy smokes.
I know.
So I made my mum this gorgeous, I think was it king size or double size? I don't think it's king size. I don't think I've ever gotten to that point where I've made a king size quilt yet, because king size is huge.
Well, that one behind you is huge. Well, I thought it was.
The one behind me is still only, I think it's an in-between. So I think, is it queen? I don't know. It doesn't go all the way to the floor on my bed, but it certainly overhangs the bed. So the star one that I did, it doesn't quite like go right across my bed, which I kind of like regret doing. I wish I'd made it bigger now. But the one behind me does actually go over the bed fully. But then I'm getting into this thing where I want everything to be coordinating again. And I don't like it on my bed right now because it's like rainbow.
Yeah, it's multicoloured.
I've gone all like, I want like, so when all that rose gold was in like a year ago, 2 years ago, Cassie now wants to do all that rose gold stuff.
Yeah.
Now it's gone out of fashion. Cassie wants to go in for it now. So I really want to do a new quilt for our bed, and I want it to all be them like dusky pinks, eggshell, duck egg. What is it called? Duck egg blue. Is that the colour?
Duck egg blue.
Yeah, so I want it to be like duck egg blue, like dusky pink, like rose goldy, kind of romantic looking kind of quilt. But I'm not quite sure yet what kind of quilt I want to do, because I want it to look modern and I don't want it to look traditional.
What about the triangular one that triangular thing you got?
Well, that's a good point that you just made, because yesterday, like I was making them cushions for my outdoor furniture. So I'll just show everybody what I've done. So I've done these cushions and I really love them. They're kind of like a boho type theme, because boho is in right now. And it's kind of it looks like them kind of like medallions, doesn't it, on the fabric? Have you seen the fabric up close, Mum?
Yeah, it's really pretty, isn't it?
Just like, I don't know.
The colour.
I know, the colours are great. So there's like reds, oranges, yellows and lime greens. And it was funny because there was two, like I was in the fabric store yesterday and there was this is so wet, it's been raining, and I wanted to bring it in and show people, because I do have a YouTube video coming on this. And I got so excited, Mum, yesterday, because I was like, I've got my YouTube video all done for this week and I'm so organised. And then I totally forgot I'm supposed to be doing the triangle one, remember?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So like I got all giddy, and like last night I was like tidying all my room up in that, so I had all my sewing room all tidy again, because when Cassie, I don't know if anybody else does this, but whenever I hit my sewing machine, I have my sewing machine room, whenever I hit my sewing room, it's like and like there's like stuff everywhere.
Oh my gosh. It does get like that, doesn't it, when you sewing now? It's messy. Little bits of cotton everywhere, bits of fabric.
It's just cutting everything. And then also because I was using my serger to make the cushions and everything, and like, they were all falling on the floor. So do you know what I should do? I should really do a basket for my serger. So when it does cut the things off, then it like all collects into a basket. What's this? Good afternoon. Jill's back.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello,
Jill. Good afternoon from Texas.
Don't tell me. I bet she's got lovely weather, hasn't she?
I'm assuming she has very lovely weather. She says the pillows are very pretty. Love the fabric. Yeah, the fabric is outdoor fabric because I was doing them for. See, I'm going all over the place on conversations today. I'm sat on my fake leather couch in my spare room, and it's coming to bits. I'm going to show everybody on my hand here. And I think it's the cats. They scratch at everything. And they're ruining my furniture.
Oh, right.
There's
holes.
holes.
You can make a cover for them.
That's what I was saying to Neil yesterday. I really should get into like upholstery because that's one thing that I really want to like do. Like get into how to upholster things. But these chairs are falling apart. There's like fake leather is not going to stand the test of time when it comes to my cat's claws. So I was in the sewing store, the fabric store yesterday, and me and this lady were looking for outdoor fabric. And the thing is that they have a load of outdoor fabrics, but they don't have anything that kind of coordinates with each other. And the patterns are huge. So do you know, like if they had a design on them, they were just big designs on them. Like not everybody.
It's always the same, isn't it? When you go looking for something, you got something in your head, but you can't find what you want. It's always the same, isn't it?
I didn't really have anything that I wanted. Like yesterday, like the day before I went, because I really wanted. I wanted everything to be like coordinated. Because like my flower pots are navy blue, my petunias are hot pink, and I have white. And I wanted these cushions and everything to be like a hot pink. So I went into one of the fabric stores, couldn't find any hot pink fabric in there. Went into another store and they didn't have any hot pink. Why don't people have hot pink outdoor fabric? And I didn't want to go online because I like colours look different. And if I get it and then I'm disappointed, I just didn't want that to happen. So I physically wanted to go to a store and find the fabric from a store. So I went from I want it to be hot pink to then it went to that design. So I redid my whole sun lounger thing. You keep calling it a lilo, and I'm sure lilos are them things that you put in swimming pools. I don't sit on a lilo on my deck, Mum.
Probably is, I know.
So I redid all of that because that was green, but it was like a dark green, and it was getting, the sun had like dyed it, and it was getting a bit oldie looking anyway. So, and I didn't take the cover off. All I did was like just made like an oversized pillow cushion. That's like when you want to make a project or do something, you just need to look at something and don't think of it as, oh, I'm redoing this lounger. Like, think of the nearest object that something looks like, and then think, okay, all I'm doing is an oversized pillow cushion. And that's how I looked at it.
Yeah.
So then all I did was, you're going to laugh in a minute when I say, one side of it I attached Velcro to it.
Oh. Oh, did you?
I did. So I can get in and out of it, because Early, my middle cat, loves to sit on the lounger. He loves that spot, so he always sits on it. So if it starts getting, I mean, it shouldn't get messy. I mean, it really repels water very well. Like the droplets are just sat on top, and they still look like water droplets on that fabric. Oh, so anyway, long story short, I was in the fabric store, going back to that, and another lady was in the fabric store too, and she had all of these bolts out, all like just stood along the thing. And I'm like, okay, how am I supposed to shop? And she's like still like looking at all these bolts, and they've all stood up, and the great big long bolts, they're like, I don't know, they're like 62 inches long or something for outdoor fabric. Something like that, isn't it? They're on big long boats. The longer than what like cotton fabric is generally on a bolt. So anyway, I'm looking and she's looking, and then I've noticed that she's having a really good look. She's really trying to find something here. And they're like, okay, like, if you happen to see lime green anywhere, can you just let me know? So then she's looking at it, and then she shows me a piece of her fabric and says, if you find anything that looks like this, could you let me know? So we're both looking for each other. So I'm getting like samples out. So because I bought this, so the lounger fabric that I bought from that store. So basically I pulled that out and I laid it on the floor because she was obviously taking up all the other space. So I laid that on the floor and I'm pulling out all these other different fabrics and I'm laying it next to like the one that I've got for the lounger. And I'm like getting like all the greens and stuff, but all the prints that they had were like, they just did not complement very well when I put them next to them. So in the end I'm there like, oh, I'm gonna have to get plain green. I don't want plain green. And I'm like looking at them. So anyway, I'm pulling all these bolts and that. And then under one of the bolts, I find this pattern that this woman was looking for. It wasn't quite the same colour. It's like, she had like a stripy blues on hers. And like the predominant colours were like all dark lines with like minimal white sections. However, the one that I found was like more predominantly white stripes and like minimum like dark blue sections. So I pulled it out and I said, is this kind of what you're looking for? It kind of looks like what you're looking for. And she's like, oh my God, where did you find that?
Oh, man, that's cool.
So anyway, I'm like, and then I'm just like stood there real disappointed because I couldn't find what I'm looking for. So I'm like, this is such a bummer, this. Because like, because I said to her, all the fabrics that they've got, they're all like super duper big. Like, because they had a really nice one that I would have got if the motif would have been slightly smaller. So there were like great big massive like flowers on it, and they were like bright. There was a hot pink in it, hot pink, lime greens, yellows. It would have been perfect. So the only thing that was wrong with it is that the motif was too big. And the reason why I had a problem with that is because I want to make cushions, and I would have been chopping. You know, you wouldn't have seen a whole predominant flower because the print was so big.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether, like, what is it like for a couch seat or something? You were making big box cushions or something to replace a couch. Is that? I don't. It just looked huge. It was a huge motif. So anyway, that's when that woman says, she goes, well, you don't have to use the whole piece. Why don't you just do a section down the middle? And I'm there like, duh. She says use the two sections like either side and then put like, you know, either the green in the middle or put like the pattern piece in the middle and put the two green bits at either side. And they're like, oh, okay then, that makes sense. Like, silly me. Hi Roberta, how are you?
Oh, hello, back.
So anyway, I basically decided that, because then I looked at design a bit more. I'm like, do you know what? These cushions kind of look boho. So I decided that I was going to go and have a look at the tassels in the notion section. And then I thought, you know, this is like all going to come together now. And then I decided that I was going to, I'm getting a mess all over my hands because of bloody cats. So I decided to make it all boho cushion. So I made these two cushions for the chair, and I made a bigger cushion for my lounger, which you will see in the, not this next week's video, this Wednesday's video, but it'll be the week after. You'll see all that. So yeah.
Oh, brilliant. I like them. They're so pretty.
They are pretty.
Colourful.
They're unique, and nobody else is ever going to have them unless they do my design.
Yeah. And find the material, the fabric.
I know, that's the problem. And also the notion was on sale as well, which it should have been something like, I don't know. It was like $3.25, which is really cheap for Canada. And I know you guys in the States to get better deals than what they do in Canada. So like living in Canada at times is a lot like living in the UK, where everything is just like super duper expensive.
It is here.
Like we don't have competition anymore with regards to like any other fabric stores. Like in the States they have like Joann's, they have a few good stores still left. I mean, I don't know like what's going to end up happening with all of this, whether some places are going to end up closing down, but I mean, when I was in the fabric store the other day, like I said to him, like, "Oh, you're really busy?" And she says, "Yeah, we've been absolutely busy." And most of the people seem to be occupying themselves with making face masks. So, like, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're not going to see any store closures.
No, I hope not. Anyway.
And so, what's everybody making? Are you still making your quilts? Oh no, guys, what are you doing? I'm nosy. So I made a background change. I don't think some people weren't on last week. I don't know whether you watched the rerun, but I've changed my background so it looks a little bit like something's going on back here because it looks a bit boring. And I was thinking about this last night. I don't know why I was thinking about it last night, but I was thinking, did you guys get that book that you ordered online? The 1000 Quilt Blocks. I want to know if you got it. I can't remember who ordered it. I remember a couple of people. Remember the book, Mum, that I showed, 1000 Quilt Blocks?
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
A couple of people ordered that book, so I'm wondering if anybody like got it that's on right now and what you think of it, because I think it's a fantastic book. Oh, do you know what? I've got this rug behind me and it's making me hot. I'm going to take it away. Oh. It's going from hot to cold, from hot to cold, from hot to cold.
Yeah, I was a bit like that. I've got my jumper on as well now.
So Roberta said she's got the book and she loves it, and Jill said yes, she got the book and I've enjoyed looking through it. So it's really good. It's really good. You might have to watch it when you print some of the patterns, because sometimes they're a little bit funny for some weird reason. And the reference numbers on the CD to the reference numbers in the book are a little bit weird. I can't remember. There was something going on there. Something to do with, I can't remember if it was a page number or something like that, but you'll find out when you try and print one of the patterns. But they are all there. You just have to figure out how they've like done it. It's not quite logical as what you think it should be. Oh, God, I want to stop talking. What's up with me today? Oh, happy 4th of July! Happy 4th of July! Independence Day for the Americans.
Yes, I know.
And Mum, you don't have any phone calls today, do you?
Oh, no. No, my work's done now, that part of it anyway, thank goodness.
Jill says that she's going to start a new quilt this week, still deciding which pattern.
Oh, really? That'd be nice. It'd be interesting. It's a shame they can't see other people, isn't it, and what work they do.
Well, they can do if they were to join my Facebook group, and then you would be able to post pictures onto that group. I do have a Facebook group, but I haven't been that active on the Facebook group. Facebook hasn't really been quite good for me, but I don't know. The more subscribers I get, maybe they might follow me onto my Facebook group. We'll see.
Well, that'd be good if Jill and would do that, and you can see what her work, see some of her work as well.
I know, it's nice to show, isn't it? Roberta's working on a string quilt using silk.
Oh, very nice.
I know it.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice to see if she could go on your Facebook thing and show that.
See, my mum said you have to go on my Facebook.
So we can see your work as well. That'd be lovely, that.
My mummy said you have to go on my Facebook group.
We want to see your work. I like looking at people's work. It's nice.
I like looking at people's work.
Yeah. People are so talented. It's beautiful. It's artwork, isn't it?
It is artwork, especially when you're sewing silk. Can you imagine sewing silk?
I bet it's nice when it's done in silk. I bet it's fantastic, that.
I'm trying to get a visual on that. I think I am going to need a picture. Because is it going to pluck her? Because is it not delicate? It's going to slip.
I don't work with that.
You're going to have to use a Teflon foot. She's doing a string quilt using silk. That's kind of cool. But she's going to be doing little strips of fabric, silk fabric.
Oh, wow.
So what kind of fabric are you using? Is it old, like, silk tops, or... I'm intrigued now, when I'm thinking more into that. You're going to need a super sharp needle. You don't want it to pierce, like, a thin needle. You don't want it to pierce all the holes that are going in and out of your silk. Yeah, I want to do a quilt for my bedroom, and I don't know what to do yet. And I was thinking of going that, like, diamond, that triangle route. Not quite sure what to do.
You could start that for your YouTube thing to show them how you do it with, you know.
What, from start to finish? I think I have done a video that's done from start. I mean, it doesn't mean I can't do another one.
You know how to use the which one did you find was better?
What?
Which did you find it better to use the freebie triangle, or was it better to do it like
I've not done the video yet. That's what I mean. Like, yesterday I got so good, I was like, oh, I've got this week's video sorted, but I'm supposed to do the piece of the triangles. Well, Neil thinks it's not going to work because basically the triangle that I've got from the magazine isn't equilateral. I can't say it. Equilateral. It's not, basically, it needs to be the same dimension on all three sides, and he reckons it's not going to work because with the magazine it's a triangle in a square template, not a triangle template. So I've got a funny feeling that this may not actually work, and I think I do have a triangle template with the seams, and I may have to do it all over again, like cutting out the templates and not using the one that came with the magazine. Because I feel like Neil feels that if I try and sew these triangles together, they're going to end up curving all around. You know what I mean? And then making it, and it's going to be raised up. He reckons it isn't going to sew in a straight line. Basically, it's going to do a curve on it because they're not all the same sides. I didn't think about that. I just got excited that I saw a triangle template with another template and thought that they were going to both work. And I think I don't think it's going to do it. But anyway, I'm going to see. I'll see. And I'll get very frustrated if it doesn't, and I'll have to like redo something during my video. I'm probably explaining why I didn't use that other template and use a whole new template. Because I have a template, I think, like does triangles, hexagons, and what's that other one called? Right weird name to it. Right weird name shape to it. I can't remember what it's called. Sure, if I don't get it, I'm going to go get the template, because otherwise I'm just going to be like, what's the name of it? What's the name of it? It doesn't say the name of it. Damn it. Help me out, guys. What is the name of that shape? Is it a parallelus something gone? Oh, what are they called? Oh, hang on a minute. This one does it does a diamond as well. So this template does triangles, hexagons. I want to say they're called a parallelogram or something like that. Oh, no, I can't find it. Anyway, I'm sure people don't want to hear me for half an hour trying to remember what a shape is called. What did I do last week? Did I finish on Marina's compass, Mum? I'm trying to remember what I finished on last week.
I can't remember.
The Marina's Compass quilt brings... Oh, so okay then. So this is that. I'm still on womansfolk.com. I mean, it's a really good website. Give them credit. It's not me that came up with this content. I'm on a website called womanfolk.com. And this is like the third week that I'm talking about the history or the meanings of quilt patterns. And this one's the Marina Compass quilts brings to mind seas of long ago as the captain of the ship struggles to find his way in the deep fog. In truth, this pattern reflects back to a seafaring guide that existing even before the compass. I don't think I did do this one, did I?
No, I don't think so.
Joe, this kind of reminds me of the 90s though. Do you remember when that like kind of sun and moon theme was going in the 90s with that dark blue and gold? Do you remember that?
Vaguely, yeah.
I had a friend that was like super into that. And so the quilt pattern designer Judy Matheson specializes in Marina's Compass patterns. I asked her to share some information with us, and she offered the following introduction to the Marina's Compass quilt. So Marina's Compass is the name quilters use to refer to star designs that radiate from the center of a circle, as opposed to the star design that grow from a square, like Ohio Star or the Sawtooth. Every time I think of I just think of sawtooth, like toothache. Or a sawtooth, SAWTOOTH. It's not a sawtooth. If you were going to call your design a Marina's Compass, it should probably have 16 or 32 points, like a compass card on a magnetic compass or a map. This is so Neil. Innit? Like, this is something my husband was at. This is like, no, this you can't do a compass. The compass has to have 16 or 32 points. Your brick wall has to look like a brick wall. Your cat has to look like a cat. Barbara Brackman says that this is one of the earliest named quilting designs in America. But this is another, like, it always says this, though, isn't it? Everybody always says this is the earliest name, this is the earliest, this is the earliest design. Have you noticed that? That seems to be a theme. They can't all be the earliest ones.
No.
Although the design source is lost in history, it probably had something to do with the design as seen on navigational maps. Certainly there is a large proportion of existing antique quilts of the Atlantic coast area made with this design. Any quilter who is interested in this design would benefit from a study of sailing charts as far back as the 16th century. So has anybody done a Marina's Compass? I think it's going to have to be done out of foundation paper piece. Oh, pardon me, I just burped. It has to be done out of foundation paper piecing. It's the easiest way of doing points on a quilt block, basically. So the Marina's Compass pattern, beginnings in ancient seas. It's not surprising that the Marina's Compass pattern is one of the earliest quilt patterns. The design is a very old one. Before the compass was available, early marinas depended on a wind chart called a windrose. Though not always reliable, it was the best that could be done before the magnetic compass came into use in the late 13th century. For some time after, sailors still depended on the winds, as they didn't completely trust the magnetic compass. See, technology, nobody believes in it. During this time, the windrose gradually evolved into the compass rose on the nautical maps, the compass rose continued to be a useful decorative feature on charts and maps for the next few centuries. It's likely that quilters were inspired by the varied designs used to depict the compass rose over time. The first known quilt to use a mariner's compass design was made in 1726 in England. Such quilts might well have been made earlier, but we must depend on this first dated quilt for certainty. It is unknown if the quilt from the 1726 was even called a mariner's compass quilt, as it was documented with a date but not a name. Many other quilts of this general pattern have been made over the years, but only since the mid-20th century was the name mariner's compass commonly used. Meanwhile, quilts of this design have been named everything from chips and Waitstones to the explosion. I'm not quite sure an explosion. So the sun-related names like sunburst and rising sun were also common, and the variations in the name of this quilt is a good example of how difficult it is to uncover the history of any given pattern by name. That was short and sweet. I like it. I mean, I like the design, but I don't like it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the term is I appreciate it. I think I appreciate it.
I can't see it this time, can I? You didn't send me a picture.
I didn't. I'm so sorry. That is really bad of me. Wait a minute. I can do it. 1 second. Let me see if I can do it with my iPad. I'm going to see if I can do it without dropping you, Mum. In chat. There you go.
Have we done it?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I can appreciate the hard work,
Oh, yeah.
but I don't quite like it. And I can't put my finger on it.
It's probably because of the colours, maybe. It's that dark. It's dark again, isn't it? There's a lot of work gone into that, though, hasn't there?
There is a lot of work gone into that. Here you go. Let me take a photograph of this next one so you have it. You're not driving blind. So this one is the Irish chain pattern.
Oh,
It looks like a... Go on.
why do they always do them in these blue colours?
I don't know.
They don't give them any justice, do they?
So the cover of a well-worn pattern book of mine displays a lovely cottage in Ireland with an Irish chain quilt in front. It brings to mind coziness of distant times and places, making you want to sit right down and commence sewing. But there is some uncertainty whether the picture could be an example of another romantic myth, or if the pattern truly came from Ireland. What's so special about it? Oh, so it's called the Irish chain pattern. Okay. So current documentation on the Irish chain quilt pattern indicates that it was developed in America in the early 1800s. Quilt historian Barbara Brackman states that it's 1814 is the earliest known date for this pattern. She goes on to say dated examples appear consistently across the decades, indicating the design's popularity through the 19th and 20th centuries. It looks like squares to me.
Yeah.
Possible connection to Ireland. Little is certain in regards to the history of quilt patterns, and there is now evidence that the seeds of the pattern originated in Ireland. The book West Virginia Quilts and Quilt Makers pictures an interesting quilt. The photograph on the left shows a small section. It was brought to America from Ireland and is very similar to this pattern. It is much like a traditional single Irish chain, but none on point making, and the chains appear in the shape of squares rather than diamonds. The quilt was made about 1805 and was stitched with linen thread, typical of thread used in Ireland. The quilting was done in poplar quilting design used in Ireland at the time. You can see the quilting pattern along with a close-up of the fabric to the right. It was brought to West Virginia from Ireland when the quilt maker Margaret Key emigrated here in 1807. We find this pattern to be used more recently in Ireland, sometimes by the name mosaic or American chain. There was another one, I can't remember, one of the quilts that we did on this podcast where there were all different names for the different places that people lived in. Do you remember that one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it was the bear paw. So like some people called it the bear paw, somebody called it the cat paw. Remember?
Yeah, yes.
I suspect that one of the reasons that this pattern has been so popular over the years is that it leaves a nice solid space between the chains to display the maker's needlework skills. Choice of fabric design and colour can give this quilt many different looks. In some cases, the quilt maker has put a different quilted design in each solid space. There are other ways the space has been used as well. The book Kansas Quilts and Quilters displays two interesting Irish chain quilts by Mennonite quilters. One made in 1880 has appliqued flowers within a sunburst pattern. An intriguing thing about this quilt is that a mixture of hand and machine quilting, applique and quilting was used. Another Mennonite quilt shown in the book was the traditional circular feathered quilting in the open spaces, while the border is decorated with appliqued leaves. That sounds nice. Another used the space between the chains has been the writing of sayings and signatures for an autograph quilt. Quilt Making America Beyond the Myths includes a picture of the 1888 quilt made to raise money for church furniture. The amount of money donated and the name of each donor is written on the quilt. That's cool.
Right, okay.
So the use of the pattern today. Today's quilt... I'm sticking to this thing. I'm sticking to my chair. Today, quilters demonstrate their hand or motion quilting ability by adding a special quilted motif in each central area. Applique can still bring a theme to an Irish chain quilt. Add the fact that this pattern is fairly easy to piece together, we can see why it is one of the most oldest and the most popular quilt patterns. Okay, I can see why it could be pretty popular now because of the fact that there's that negative space in the middle. We can't see what is in the middle because the picture isn't so good, but it looks like they've done...
I can just sort of like make it out.
Can you just like, if you like right in the centre there, it looks like there's designs in that white centre. In them white parts, they put like free motion quilting inside there. So it can, I think it could be kind of beautiful. Imagine if you did that like all in like, you could make that like a wedding quilt, couldn't you? If you did it like white and off-whites. I actually quite like that. You go all different ways with that quilt. Maybe I might figure out what kind of quilt I want to do for my bed in a minute.
They're very tiny squares though, aren't they?
I know, I'm back to tiny again. I really don't want to do tiny. It takes ages to do tiny.
I know.
There you go. Let me take another photograph. This thing is so awkward. Where's my camera? There you go. Holy smokes, that's hard work. So the next one is about the double wedding ring quilt. So what can be more romantic than a double wedding ring quilt? Although this pattern is often thought of as a 20th century quilt, it appears to have evolved from a very old design. So the motif of two interlocking rings goes as far back as the 4th century, when it was used to decorate Roman cups. Oh yeah, I can see. These cups were made of glass decorated with connecting metal rings. Another early example of interlocking rings is found in the gimel ring. Is that how you pronounce it, gimel ring? These rings were popular in Europe in the 15th and 16th century. They consisted of rings that could be interlocked. During the engagement, one was worn by the man and the other of the woman. And when they married, the two rings were fitted together to be worn by the wife. Oh, that's nice.
Oh.
How do you get the same ring? How do you get a guy who wears the same ring size as you? You'd have to modify it again. It is thought the style of ring came to America through Germanic people who settled in Pennsylvania in the late 17th century. This pattern of interlocking rings was seen on coverlet, ceramics, and other decorative objects in early America. What do you think of the wedding ring quilt one?
See, that's a bluey coloured one as well, isn't it?
Now let's go past the colours of things. But I know what you mean, because like the colour of something can change everything.
Yeah, very, very much.
And you appeal to it.
Yeah. A lot of stuff is visual, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's nice. I won't choose them colours.
The double wedding ring pattern was first published by Kappa's Weekly in 1928. This Topeka, Kansas publication added a bit of a mythical romance to go with the pattern by writing, when some good but unknown man conceived the idea of a double wedding ring ceremony, it gave his wife an equally good idea. She worked 2 circles into a double wedding ring quilt. Joe, I've been able to pronounce most things on these last few things, which is kind of...
Yeah, you've done really well, haven't you?
I have. I've done so well at my pronunciation. Another delightful myth was published in the 1932 brochure, which connected the double wedding ring quilt to the Civil War. The publication offered the story of how the pattern came to be named. Oh, 1 second. So Roberta says that she says, I have a wedding ring quilt, hand-stitched and hand-quilted by my great-grandmother. How cool is that?
Oh, wow. See, if she got on your Facebook thing, you should be able to show it you.
You have to go on our Facebook group and post a picture. My mum said so.
Share it, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Great
I was
grandmother.
thinking of that. Do you know, could you imagine that? Do you know, with it being a wedding theme,
Mm-hmm.
can you imagine that in a white background with like probably a silver and rose gold?
We could do all the metal colours, couldn't you? Could do like gold, rose gold, and silver.
Yeah, yeah. That'd be really nice. That I think that'd be lovely. Do you know, with like so another colour, some other colours in that thing as well, isn't there? Do you like this? The rings as being in the metal colours, and they've got those like the yellow bits and stuff inside, haven't they?
I'll show the other one because the other one is like a single band. I think I like the single band one, but I don't know. I'll just have a look at that, see what you think. Why isn't that one to take a picture? There you go. Imagine having a quilt done by your great grandmother.
I know. That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
That must be a really old quilt. And it's all done by hand.
Oh.
What do you think about that wedding ring quilt? The single band rather than the double band. Oh, that's called something different. That's called a friendship knot. I just noticed. So there's another delightful myth was published in the 1932 brochure which connected the double wedding ring quilt to the Civil War. The publication offered the story of how the pattern came to be named. It seems a grandmotherly woman had made a great many quilts. One was particularly special and she was saying it for her niece's wedding. Sadly, the wedding had been delayed because the potential groom had been wounded in the war and spent several years away in the hospital. He finally came home and the wedding was planned, but he had no rings for the wedding. Oh, am I going to cry?
Oh.
When the bride to be told her beloved aunt that the rings would have to wait, the older woman said, "My child, I'll furnish the rings. You shall have your favourite quilt and we will call it the double wedding ring." All that I've written so far is fascinating, but still simply myth and speculation. The facts, as in most quilt patterns, are hard to trace. Do you know, like, I'd rather them just not say the end bit and just give us the romance of it, because that's really sweet.
That is, isn't it?
I want to just believe that to be true.
Oh, that says it's lovely. It's a nice sentiment, isn't it?
Could you imagine some girls today? I better not go there.
No.
But it's lovely. I think that's really nice. Anyway, so the true origins lost in the maze of names. So the quilt made much like the double wedding ring is in the Shelburne Museum, dated 1825 to 50. This quilt is titled Pincushion. See an example on the right. So this basically, to me, it looks like a cathedral window but it's called a pincushion quilt. 1 second, let me just take a photograph so you can see. Does that look like a cathedral window?
Oh, yeah.
So the quilt is titled Pincushion. See an example to the right, but the actual double wedding ring pattern appears to be rarely used until the 1920s. So what I want to know is, how do they do the double wedding ring quilt? Is it an applique thing? Because there's a lot of like bends in it. Let me know, like, how do you do that? I need to look into that. I want to know, is it done with applique or is it done another way? I want to know now. So this is a pincushion quilt, but the actual double wedding ring pattern appears to be rarely used until the 1920s. Part of the difficulty in tracing the earlier use of this pattern is the fact that over time it was made under around 40 different names. There are a few, oh, here we go. So these are the names. Yeah. Rainbow, Around the World, Pickle Dish, Coiled Rattlesnakes, Endless Chain, King Tut, and Friendship Knot. See the example above to the left. The great variety of names illustrates how differently the pattern was visualized in various periods and regions. In reading an early diary or letter, we might easily find the pattern under another name. We can't be sure if the writer was really referring to a double wedding ring like pattern or not. I guess they would be referred to as different names because back then they didn't have the internet, let's face it. So they probably would have made the names up. Like I've seen this pattern and we're like, they probably took a tracing of it in the book or whatever, and they've gone back, they've made it, and somebody's turned around and gone, oh, what's that quilt? What's the name of it? And they've just made it up. Oh, it's a blah 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 quilt. It's probably like, what's that game that you used to play? Probably can't say that. It's called Telephone here. I'm not going to call it the other name. That's probably not a good thing to say on my YouTube video. But it's called Telephone, where you say like one thing and then it gets passed down and it ends up being somebody else's. Completely different. Yeah, don't say what it is, because I just thought that it's probably not a good thing to say. Yes.
Yeah.
So it appears that in early quilts of this pattern, the pieces of the rings were first sewn together, then appliqued on solid fabric. Oh, there you go. It appears that in early quilts of this pattern, the pieces of the rings were first sewn together and then appliqued on the solid fabric. So the rings are appliqued. Around the beginning of the 20th century, women began to sew in it together as a pieced quilt. However, the method, it was a difficult quilt to make. So Carrie A. Hull wrote down this opinion on the double wedding ring in 1955 book. So the real quilt enthusiast delight in this all-over pattern, but it is hardly the design for the novice to undertake. Because of this difficulty, the double wedding ring pattern was a popular one for cheetah fabric. A woman would decorate her bed with a quilt in which the only sewing required was quilting the layers together. Why is it a cheetah way? Did I miss something? Because of this difficulty, a double wedding ring pattern was popular for cheetah fabric. Okay. So throughout the 30s and 40s, the double wedding ring quilt had become quite common. See, I don't think any quilt is a cheetah quilt, because at the end of the day, you still have to put quilts together. Do you not?
I know, a lot of work, isn't it?
Irrelevant to whether you do like a square quilt or you do a triangle quilt, I don't think a quilt is a cheetah quilt, because it depends on where you're at in your quilting experience, in my opinion.
And there's still a lot of work put into it as well, isn't there?
Because just because you've done a square quilt, like somebody who's done like loads and loads of quilts, it doesn't mean that person, they have to start somewhere at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Several newspapers and magazines published patterns and articles about it. Kits were sold with the fabrics pre-cut. Even fairs got into enthusiasm about this pattern, sometimes putting double wedding ring quilts into a special category. It has been suggested that the popularity of this pattern during the Depression era was due to the fact that many scraps could be used. This reasoning doesn't make sense though, as a good deal of solid fabric had to be purchased for the background of the wedding ring quilt. An exception to this might be the 9-patch variation on the wedding ring. So the example to the right, this pattern included scraps in the centres instead of the outer ring. See, I think you would like this one, and I don't know if it's going to photograph very well. I'm just going to take a photograph of this. Oh, unquote. Doesn't like taking photographs. I'm going to have to go back again. Come on. It doesn't want to play ball game with me. There you go. I don't know if that's a very good photograph for you, sorry. And basically, it's the wedding ring design, and it's got like squares in the centre of it. It's kind of cool. I kind of like that one. And the colours are all pastel.
Yeah, they are.
And the double wedding ring was usually made for good or special occasion use. I can't imagine children being allowed to jump on or even play on a bed topped with this lovely quilt. Do you know, do you know what? I think quilts are made to be used. And if your kids are jumping up and down on it?
I know. It's not going to ruin it, is it?
No. And I'll be honest with you, like, I shove all of my quilts in the washing machine, and, you know, if one gets ruined, it's an opportunity to make another one. But if you've made them...
I've washed that one at you. You know what you made me?
So this is what I mean. There's no point in making...
I've not had a problem with that. It's never shrunk or anything.
I just think that quilts...
Wash really well.
And in an interview with an elderly... Oh, I'm back. It went off again. It did that last week. I don't know. I think it just goes off after an hour. It's not even an hour. And I've done YouTube for longer than this before now. And then they're like, oh, I'm just reminding you that, like, you've been on for an hour. Like, YouTube, why can't I be on for longer than an hour without you interrupting me? I'm trying to, like, read here. So the double, see, now you need a phone call, because this is the same way it happened last week. Like, this went off, and then all of a sudden you got a phone call, and then it just, like, hit the fan after that. Did I?
Oh, God.
So the double wedding ring was usually made up for kids jumping on the bed. We don't like them jumping on the bed. And in an interview with an elderly woman telling about her cotton sack quilt, she explained about one exception to her usual use of sacks for fabric. Now that wedding ring quilt over there, it's domestic. That's not made from sacks. That's material from dresses. You could buy dress material for 8 cents a yard. You could make a dress for 85 cents. You can make a dress for 85 cents.
Yeah, but just think of how much money they have to, you know, like the...
True. We've been through this with Isaac Singer, haven't we, when we were, like, trying to figure out how much an amount was worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably a lot of money back then. It's just funny thinking about things being like worth like 85 cents.
I know. Sounds like nothing, doesn't it?
I know it does. I'm sticking to my chair. I'm sticking to my chair. I keep getting black bits on my like hands because this silly leather chair and my cats. It's funny because you know I put this background behind me. I was having visions of the cats like playing behind it, but don't have it touching the floor, so they can't hide behind it. Because generally when I have something like this, the cats are hiding behind it and they're playing with each other, and the whole thing's gonna fall down. Okay, we've got the last one. It's the last one. We're gonna push through this, and then we could do a new topic next week.
All right.
Do you remember when I said, oh, I'm going to do the History of Quilt Blocks, and I've got all these cuts, I'm going to go all the way through them. Imagine if I would have done a YouTube live just doing like this whole thing all as one video.
Oh God, no. Be a long time, wouldn't it?
I should do a 24-hour live YouTube video. Oh, well, it won't let me even do an hour. It kicks me off.
That's true, isn't it?
It's like YouTube says no. Okay, so the Lone Star Quilt Block. Oh, wait a minute. You need to know what we're talking about. You're not the quilter here. Actually, I don't even know some of these quilt blocks. All I know is that I don't want to do a star quilt block for my bed. See, you're going to do this to me again, aren't you? Doesn't this want to take photographs? It won't let me take a photograph.
No. No.
Oh yeah. I think it heard your pain.
Ooh. Like a kaleidoscope.
It's like look at it like this. So look at the center block as a square, and look at the other squares as being half square triangles. Do you know what I mean? Can you visualize that or not?
No.
Actually, they're probably rectangles, half square rectangle or whatever. So the Lone Star Quilts block is likely one of the most recognizable quilt patterns to Americans. It is also one of the most oldest patterns, along with the Marina's Compass, Orange Peel. There's a quilt called Orange Peel, Job's Trouble, and Irish Chain. That sounds like a racehorse. Somebody needs to name a racehorse Job's Trouble.
Yeah.
Does that not sound like a racehorse?
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
But this is a pattern known by many names. There are variations on it with a 6-point, 8-point, and the most common design, or even more. Various Lone Star quilt pattern names are given to the pattern with a large central star made up of diamond shapes, fabric to form the star points from the center out. Often the colours are chosen and placed to form what appear to be concentric circles radiating around the center. It is placed in the center of the quilt top and can be appliqued down to the background or pieced in. Sometimes other tiny stars are placed in the large blank areas surrounding the star, or flowers may be appliqued in those areas. Okay, well, no, I kind of like this one. You might like this one. Is this going to work? Are you going to take a photograph of me? You're going to behave?
It's like a lot of work, isn't that?
Why does this not want to do it? No, it's not as hard as what it looks.
Is it not?
No. I just keep pressing the button until it takes a flaming photograph for me. That one looks nice. What do you think of that one? It's a star with the flowers.
Oh, that's pretty, isn't
Isn't
it?
it? So this multi-piece star block is known by many names. The mathematical. Right, let me think of
Mathematical. That's mathematical.
mathematical. It's mathematical. Mathematical star. Yay! One for the book. Was an early name used in England and along the eastern US seaboard, especially near Baltimore. The Star of Bethlehem is a well-known name for it all around the country and is still used today. Other names for the same pattern are the Star of the East, Morning Star, which is what Native Americans call it, and Lone Star, which is the name given to this pattern by Texan quilters. Here you go, Texas. Woo! Because they are called the Lone Star. Oh, the Lone Star State. Of course they're called the Lone Star State. But this same star pattern, when made much smaller so that many cover the surface of the quilt, is known by other names such as the blazing star. And when these points are touching, it's called touching stars. When a large lone star is placed inside a curved set of similar diamond-shaped blocks that encircled it and form half stars, it is called a broken star. The Amish like large central star patterns, as did the southern states across the US. The central states made their fair share, but it seems more were made closer to the last quarter of the 19th century and in the 20th century, first 2 quarters. I personally haven't seen this pattern in quilts from the upper New England states and could not find any pictured in the Vermont book, Plain and Fancy, and in the Empire State, New York State Project book. Many seem to come out of Pennsylvania. In Least I Shall Be Forgotten, which studied quilts near Philadelphia in a Montgomery County documentation project, it states the rising star is typical of regional quilts of this design and are primarily found in the northern part of the region. In Texas quilts, Texas Treasures, there is a Lone Star burial quilt pictured and made of black and white diamonds on the black background. This quilter made one for each grandchild, which they were to be buried in it when their time came. Ooh, that's a bit grim. In the meantime, the quilts were used to cover the body of other family members as a lay-in-wait for the pine coffin to be built. I don't know about that.
Right.
Imagine having this quilt at the corner of your room thinking, yeah, gonna be put on my body when I'm dead. It's a bit morbid.
It is a bit. Not a happy story, is it?
No, I liked the wedding one better.
Yeah, I did.
So, a difficult pattern mastered by few. See, now this is like a challenge, isn't it, when people say this? So it says, although many quilts seem to have been started using a variation of this pattern, often the large star by itself, not yet placed onto a background or pieced into one, is found in antique shops, or just the top is found for sale, because when it is laid flat, the central pouches up, or the sides are cockeyed and the corners are crooked. Intermediate to advanced skills were needed to make these often hand-pieced stars, because each and every tiny diamond has bias edges and the triangles and corners are set in with a Y seam. So the Rising Star quilt is a Smithsonian quilt at the Smithsonian as an example of this style and is pictured in many books, including the Empire State. Interestingly, it was used as a document piece for the first reproduction fabrics that the museum produced in conjunction with the fabric company RJR in the early 1900s. I'm going to take a photograph of this quilt if this silly thing will let me, because these are, so this is difficult and you'll see why. It just does not want to take a photograph. I'm determined for you to see this. Holy smokes. Why would I not take a photograph? This thing does not like me today. I think a cat wants to get through the door.
No.
I'll send it to you after. I can't get it to do it. Silly thing. Basically, it's a star, right? Like the last one, but it has diamonds inside of the star.
Okay.
And like small diamonds. And basically what they're saying is that it's a difficult starter quilt because all of these diamonds are end up cutting on a bias. So when you cut all these diamonds on the bias, it like, I'm assuming that when you cut the diamonds, it needs to be done in a way that because if you cut it on the bias, it's going to stretch. But if you don't cut it on the bias, it's not going to stretch. You're going to have to figure out which is the bias and which isn't the bias for it not to stretch, yeah? Or not? Or does that make a difference? I'm sure somebody's come up with a cheap way of doing it. And here's me saying that no quilts are cheap before, and now I'm saying like, I'm sure somebody's done a cheap way of doing it. Oh. Okie dokie, and that's a wrap. That's it.
All right.
We've done the quilt blocks. We've done the quilt blocks on what's on this site anyway. So all this information is available at womanfolk.com. It's quite a nice resource. Maybe I should get.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Maybe I should start contributing to them. So what are you making this week? So you bought some fabric.
What I did.
You bought fabric.
I bought fabric, and I need to get my head around stuff. I don't. It's like I do want to make some dresses. But I need to be in the right frame of mind to do it.
And you're going to use like dresses that you already have and cut them up, or take the seams apart? What are you going to do?
Well, I've done one already. That was spoilt. It's got a stain on it, so I've sort of like cut it out. So I'm going to use that as a pattern, see how that goes.
Now, are you going to just use like one piece of fabric, or you could add some like different details on there? Like, what are you going to do?
No, just use just the fabric I bought.
So I'm thinking like the whole point in doing your own like dresses and stuff is to make them look unusual, yeah?
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm going to do next time when I'm attempting to make something. I'm going to try and do something a little bit out of the ordinary. Like, just because you got a dress like pattern and stuff, I want to like just do something like a little bit different. So do you know, like how we did with the cushions, how you cut certain sections and that and add different pieces? Yeah. You can do that with clothes as well.
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
And you can make it look really unusual.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, yeah.
And you got a bag that you wanted to make.
I know. I did the zip thing in it today.
Oh, you've been
The
sewing.
fabric is. Do you know where I put the zip in?
Mm-hmm.
I can see because the back side of it, it's a funny fabric. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to. Do you know where you do your zip? I'm going to have to use the same fabric to do the pocket thing, if you know what I mean. It's hard to explain because I did a single piece, right, and I put I use a lining to do the pocket on the back. So where you sew it on and you put it through the hole, then you turn then you iron it at the back and everything. Well, the fabric I've got is like a wine colour, but the back of it is white. And because it's the way that I've cut it and I've not sewn it properly, so I'm gonna have to. I've got loads of the fabric, thank God. So I'm gonna have to.
Can I just say
I'm gonna have to cut
something?
it out again.
I remember when I used to make stuff and you used to be there like, can you just think about what you're doing before you cut it? Just think about it, you used to say.
Yeah, but I didn't realise that I was going to see like I've done a mistake on it, basically, because I've cut it a bit too much, if you know what I mean. So I might have to use some of the same fabric to do that, the pocket part of it, the front of the pocket. It's just just a bit of a weird fabric. It's not cotton or anything. It's I don't know, it's like a waterproofy thing, but it's quite thin. It's not very thick.
Is that stuff that you bought over here, or is that stuff that you bought the other day?
No, I didn't buy it the other day. I bought it a couple of months back a few months ago, because before we got shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So I just need to put a bit of thought into it. And just do it again. I've just got loads of it because it was a shop, and you buy these things and you weigh it. There's certain fabrics where you get it weighed.
What?
Yeah, I know.
What do you mean? They weigh it?
Yeah, they weigh it. You can buy it by the meter, but there's some of the things that are cut up already, and you buy it by the weight.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that in my life.
No, I haven't until I went to this particular shop.
I can imagine the look you gave them.
Well, I bought things from there before. I bought some of this vertical, like to do like a throw over my couch.
Yeah.
That was by the weight.
Really?
Yeah.
See, generally the one that I go to, when they have offcuts of fur and stuff, they just like throw it in a bargain bin and then just say like each peach is X amount of money per meter, and you're not allowed to have a cut from it, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but they just, I don't know. They want to just try and get rid of it, and they just do so much so you can do something with it, and then they just say, well, it's all about weight. It's weird.
It is a bit. So are you using a pattern to make your bag, or?
Well, I just took it off of one of my other ones I've got already, so I just drew it out. Do you know what I mean?
Got you.
Use it as a template kind of thing.
Because that's what I said to Neil about doing these chairs. I was thinking about, like, so Neil said, just leave the fabric and then just put the thing over the top of it. And I'm there like, but if I actually undid all the chairs and, take all the pieces off, that would be all of my pattern pieces to make the chairs
exactly,
again.
Yeah.
So that makes more sense. Yeah. Because if I try and like go it on my own, they're not going to snugly fit over the actual chair. They're just going to be like, cheap looking chair coverings. Whereas if you like take it off the chair and do it properly.
Yeah, so use a Stanley knife or something to unpick it and that.
It's a bit nerve-wracking though, thinking, oh, I'm just going to demolish these like really expensive chairs I bought from.
Yeah, but if they're ruined,
They are ruins.
You know, that's.
And I'll tell you, I'll tell you which cats ruined them. Sophie child. Little girl Sophie. She likes to ruin my leather chairs. Anyway.
What colour did you then?
I don't know. I'd like to go white. I would like to have like an all white living room. But I don't know if that's feasible with 3 cats.
2 grey and 1 black.
Could you imagine if I did all of my chairs all white and then like the black cat sits on them all, it's like black fur all over everything. Plus the grey cat has have all fur over it. That's why I said the next time when I do my floors I'm going to do them like grey hardwood. Grey with a bit of black in it. You don't see the cat hair.
I could say you could do it like a pale grey or something.
But you'd see the black hair from Sophie. Do you want black? You want to do it grey with a bit of black in it. Anyway, I'm going to let these people go on YouTube because I have taken up way too much of their day already.
Oh, okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on Wednesday.
And don't forget to go on Facebook.
Yeah, and don't forget to go on my Facebook group, which is Faodail Creation. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching.